What would the world look like if everybody came alive in that kind of context? Like, and a recurring theme in many of my shows, and I was talking about this morning as well, that kind of, and which I discussed with different people, that kind of calling in your soul, this whatever, something that speaks to you, whatever that thread is inside of yourself, and you know, what fraction of the world is in tune with that, and how would the world be different if everybody was alive and was expressing in alignment with what their soul is saying? And you know, how would interactions be different when people wake up in the morning across the planet? If everybody woke up with a yes, and everybody woke up like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, like, how would the relationships be different? Like how would the energy of the whole planet be different? How would the buildings be different? You know, like, just, and we're just kind of exploring that, like, what would that be? You know, like, I guess I could explore what it might be, but I suppose it probably would exceed the things that I would dream up.
It's possible.
I would guess. So you do a lot of work with persons in bringing, to use one of your phrases, taking them from passion to profit. And you say that when you found, what was the passion that you found, and how did you turn it into a business? I know you spoke about your gift and your gift of seeing potential.
Mm-hmm. In 1994, I left my job, and I had like no options. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. I had 0 options. All I knew was that when I ran, I had long hair, and when I ran my hands through my hair one day, some of the hair came out. And when I went to the doctor, he told me that, well, he said, I could give you, pills, whatever, but do you like your job? I said, well, no, it's causing a lot of stress. And so my boss was convinced that I was going to one of the competitors, and I just gave him the "I'm not at liberty to say at this time," which really just meant I didn't have any options, but I didn't want to say that to him. So I just left. I basically just took a leap and left. No money saved, nothing at all. There's a phrase that motivational speaker Les Brown says often, leap and the net will appear. So having left that, I got a call from a guy asking me if I would want to go to Japan to play music, because I play the guitar. I was like, well, I have so many other things to do, like, let me just check to see if I could do this. Yeah, I am like free. Anyway, so I then went to Japan for like 3 months. Then I went, and then that time was extended. So in all, I probably spent like 9 months in Japan playing soca music to this, small group of people. To answer your question about the passion, so I kind of had that as a, the universe caught me, and I was able to kind of come back. And there was always one question in my mind, always, from when I was working a job. I'd look at people employed and ask them, like, okay, so what are your plans? Like, what are you gonna do? Like, like when I worked at WAS, everything is a 1, 2, 3. So you're turncock 1, 2, 3, 4 to whatever. Yes, scientific assistant 1, 2, 3. A supervisor 1. Everything is numbers, not numeric. So, my thing is like, oh, you're going to a 2, you have to be a chemist or whatever it is. Like, nah, you're good. So I always wonder, like, what would make somebody like want to do better? Like, what is it, and what are the ingredients in a person that would make one person want to sort of like figure out things for themselves and see what's possible in their lives, and why some people, what they call lead lives of quiet desperation. So that was always kind of like the question. So when I came back from Japan, it was kind of like natural for me. I went into what I knew, which was print, and packaging, and marketing, customer service. But it was always people-centered. So to give an example, when I was the manager at my last job in charge of the sales department, I remember there was some conflict with employees and stuff, and so I was listening to the employees and hearing their side, and that was natural, and my then general manager said to me, you seem to be taking the side of the employees. It's like, I'm not taking the side of the employees, I'm trying to hear what they're saying.
I'm trying to help you.
I'm just to understand so we could sort of like figure out this, right? And they didn't see it like that. They saw it that, I was not loyal to the management team. I wasn't just going with what management was saying. I was listening to the staff. That was always I think, sometimes you don't really find, it finds you, you are, who you are. I'd always been a person who people came to. My mother always complained that, I'd be running up her phone bill because I'd be on the phone talking to people and helping them sort out things. It was natural. And that's the thing about gifts. They come packaged like that, kind of like not like, ba, 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 ba. It's like just, yeah, I right here. You can't, it's just slide in the DM, as they say, and it's like, you just kind of, and that's how gifts are. So I didn't really, and usually we ignore the gift, what comes naturally. So I was always that. I was always, in my family, I always joke and say, nobody calls to see how I am, but once there's a problem, you find the different parties calling. The brother will call, the nephew calling, the mother call, that's what happens in my family. So, yeah, I've always been, very enthused and excited about people. Human behavior. I look at that patterns. I love, to see like when they have serial killers and, things like that. It's always engaging to me, the psychology. What makes people do what they do. So I've gotten into that, very, very deeply. So that's, it found me. It was there. I just needed to sort of turn around and look at it and pay attention, to what it is.
So one of the things that you said you do is that you bring people into alignment and you help them to earn money in a way that is easy for them. What are some of the ways that how do you achieve that? How do you bring people into alignment? And then how do you help them make money in a way that's easy for them? Because I think a lot of people who will be watching this video, when they hear that last sentence I just said, everybody is like, this is the part I need to hear, this part right here.
Again, it's what happens when you are aligned with who you are confident, you have belief. Now, when you're wearing this costume, you go out there and, and this is not a knock on the industry, but there are some people, for example, they call themselves, I am a, financial expert. So it's not, I don't sell insurance, I'm a financial expert. So, okay, great. The question is, do you really believe that about yourself? And that's why I say sales training in the context of technique and all of that, it's great. It had its place. But really, the work is Do you believe? Do you believe in what you're selling? Because people see it. They see if you, they can read it off of you. They can feel the energy, if it's a confident energy or if it's a disbelieving energy. So while I say that, so that people understand, again, it's nothing I do. But once you have tapped into that, the money comes. Because wealth is what you have after everything is gone. And I think most people need to understand that. Money is just, it's energy and it's an exchange. Don't go looking for the money. I was, all the time in my life, when people say, well, set huge goals, it's never worked for me. Yes, I'm going to make $50,000 and, this month, or it just has not worked. It may work for some people, but I would say that they are probably, or were probably more in alignment. This is why they got the result, as opposed to that the technique that they were using was working. So I think that once you can tap into that, into yourself, then it doesn't matter. You just go about sort of like spreading the good news, your good news, right? And, and this is not blasphemous, but pretty much like how Jesus went about. He was not like, I need to have, Instagram page or Facebook or whatever. I'm just going out there and talking to people and telling them what I do. And there were people just like that who were like, yeah, you're the guy. And there are people who were like, nah. And they try to tie him up with all kind of different things and question him and say, well, if you are this and if you say you are this. And he didn't go like, well, I am, his response was never one of, like, well, I am Jesus and, I've been in carpentry school with my dad and then I went here and I did this and I had this. He didn't do that. He just was like, real cool, like, okay. Yeah. And he answered questions with questions. Okay, so you're asking me why I'm doing this on this day, whether it's the Sabbath or whatever it is, but what about this? Look at this. What are you really saying? So I'm saying that it wasn't like he was like, I have to convince people that they need to be healed or, so I'm saying that it's less of that. It's more of a consistency. It's more of a belief. It's more of when you set up what I call your platform, like what, yours is your channel and you have a particular, intention and purpose and just keep doing that and just work. But the important thing is to keep doing it. And people think, well, okay, but there's silence, there's nothing going on. But there is a lot going on. You are growing, you are believing in yourself more. That kind of thing comes. When we always look at, somebody's success trajectory and hindsight is always 20/20. So we could say, they did this, that, but that's them. Their makeup, who they are intrinsically. So once you could start to figure out, and it's an incremental thing. It's a moment by moment, but it's paying attention, like what we are talking about. It's not being distracted by a whole lot of things. It's really looking, listening. Me, if I get a message 3 times, I have to pay attention. It's like, last week, 3 people told me separately, let go, let go, let go, let go. Like, come on, you get a message, right? So what I, help people to do is to start taking out all of that garbage, start listening, start respecting that voice, and in that, you will get direction. You will know that this is the next step for you. As a result, people start to take you a lot, more seriously. And not only that, you will be like the lighthouse for that, so that people can see you, so that they can identify, not getting all, submerged in all this gobbledygook and, I'm a content strategic, whatever. All of these things we do. I mean, and I understand it. I was there. I've done it. Yeah. I've struggled with, okay, what to call it. No, I was like, if you ask me, no, I'd be like, nothing. Yeah. And it's okay. I don't have to stress. Yeah. Like, what are you? Nothing. Because really, it's like all of these things that we try to pile on. So that's really it. So the alignment part is in you getting in touch with yourself, listening to what I call those God winks, those clues, taken, like what you said, that little direction, that little voice. Trust it. Take action. You start moving in the direction, of serving a purpose. And then, the money will follow. It has to. It follows. Anytime you're efforting to get it, because then what you bring forward is that manipulative self, which does not feel good. You can't achieve, you know what I mean? It's just impossible. Yeah. It does not feel good. I tell people that all the time. If I'm sitting down talking to you, like you're a client, and I'm sitting down and I'm thinking, yeah, I could really charge you this because, I have my bills to pay. I have my rent is coming up soon. Let me see. Yeah. Here, kind of hear what she's saying there about some kind of strategic something, but I need to I'm thinking maybe 7,000 because and it just never happens.
You are so hilarious.
It doesn't happen. When you go to fit like that, it doesn't happen. If I'm like this, if I'm more like, look, this is it and it really doesn't matter, whether you're on board or not, because I know that this could work or whatever it is, and you say it and the next thing you have a check in your hand. It's that simple, but I'm saying that it takes some work for you to get into alignment with yourself. And if you're struggling, I'd say to the people looking at this it's that you're probably out of alignment somewhere, and not telling yourself the truth about your present situation. You can't continue to mask and hide. It just doesn't work. I don't know. I don't have a theory. That's just the universe works like that.
Yeah. It's something that you said earlier, which was interesting, and you said you have to believe if you're going to sell something, and you go and you say you're a financial expert, but you don't believe that you are a financial expert. People feel that dissonance. Mm-hmm. And it reminded me of something that I saw online again with a guy called Bruce Lipton. Mm-hmm. And he was speaking about language, words, and he was talking about energy, mm-hmm. which is something different. But I think, intuitive, a lot of the things that I've been talking about and I'm talking about, I think people will intuitively understand it when they hear it. Mm-hmm. And they will understand. People know the truth when they hear it, Yeah. And I think, so he was talking about that difference between energy, which is something separate to words. And he was saying that, I don't know if this part is true, but I know that the application is true. So he was saying that words were actually created to mask energy. So words were, so he's saying, I don't know if I believe that, but I see the application of it, and I think it ties into what you're saying. So he's saying that words were created to fool people and to divert them from the truth and to manipulate people. So which is why you can feel one thing, so you can feel, I actually don't feel confident about being a financial advisor. But you can say to somebody, I am a financial advisor and I'm expert and I can help you with this. Mm-hmm. And I think we are moving to that point now where, and as I was saying, I don't think it's just a local thing. I think we are moving to that point where everything that's happening in one place in the world is being felt very deeply across the world. Right. And I think we are moving to that kind of planetary consciousness. And there's that, people are moving to that place where they're coming back to understanding that voice and understanding energy and reading energy. Mm-hmm. And so when somebody says words to you, I can feel, and I think if I could feel it, I think it's not unique to me, other people can feel it. You could feel when somebody's telling you words and it's not what's really happening inside of them.
Of course, it's like when someone, if someone says, you want someone to apologize for something, and you say, all right, I'm sorry.
Exactly.
You know, that's BS.
I'm not sorry.
Yeah, you're not sorry. Right? But you know when they're genuine. You can tell, and that's why that's what I'm saying. There's that lack of truth in interactions, whether it's in large organizations, small, two-person businesses. It doesn't matter. If you're not being authentic, if you're not speaking your truth, if you're hiding, if you're trying to say like, no, it's all right, it's all right. You know, we like to say that the martyr thing. No. Oh gosh, I tell you, I'll do the thing. I will stay back till 11. And you're upset about it, but it's because you said it, you know. There's what you said there it reminded me of well, you know, it's part of that Think and Grow Rich in the first couple of chapters where this guy, Edward C. Barnes, comes, you know, he's just traveled on a freight train, you know, with produce and stuff, not like a passenger train, right? So, you know, if you could imagine how he was probably looking, smelling everything, and he arrives on the door of Thomas Edison and basically tells Edison that he has come to put him, you know, an advisement that he's going to be in partnership with him. You know, that come like, you know, I just roll up, you know, to some CEO and I go and I just tell them, yeah, listen, I just want to put you in so that we are going to be partners. There was something in the book and, you know, in Hill's telling of the story, Napoleon telling of the story, that there was something that Edison saw in Barnes. It wasn't anything to do with how Barnes was looking, but that belief, that conviction was there. So he did come in and he started him wherever it is he started him, you know, wherever he put him to work. But he had that, I am going to be in partnership with Edison as his, you know, driving force. So he just was working, and all the stuff he was doing, he just had that in his head. So eventually, I think it was like a dictaphone or something that Edison had, and nobody wanted to sell it. And this Barnes said, well, yeah, you know, he ended up, that's he thinks so. So he, you know, and yeah, he ended up. And eventually, I think it went into, I can't remember, I'm not literal, but it's something like manufactured by Edison, marketed by Barnes. But they became partners, you know, and that, again, but you see, this is where I talk about possibility. What do we do with that? We go like, nah, that happened then, but that cannot happen for me. It's not possible for me. And therein lies the biggest issue. It's not that nothing is possible for you. It's the fact that you know, are unable to see it. And that's why, biblically, it's the same thing, you know, a man without vision will perish, but it's like, that's exactly what it means. If you have no vision for yourself, none. Vision, you know, people, again, everybody goes to lofty, you know, vision. How is my day going to unfold? What am I going to do today? How am I going to show up? You know, how can I be my best? How can I apply myself? What could I do? You know, etc. So that what you talked about there, that energy, that belief, it's communicated. It's in the ether. You know, we can't package it or feel it, but people could tell whether you're sincere, whether you're telling a lie. You know, we are all wired to pick up on those things. So why wouldn't you think that I'm such a magician that they are not going to realize that, like a guy said, all I have is lint in my pocket. You know, I don't have a cent, but yes, I am a financial advisor. You know, it's ludicrous. And as I said, I'm not ponging the insurance industry, but I'm just saying that, you know, that's the closest example. And there are a lot of people struggling, you know, with that. And it's unfortunate because, again, that's why I'm talking about master of pain. They're in painful situations. And nobody's helping them because all leaders, sales managers, and I mean, with the best intent, but it's like, make more calls, you know, the numbers, see more people, you're not networking enough, and all these, or you need to close better, or you need a sales technique, comes back down to you don't believe. And if you don't believe, nobody's going to.
You're so amazing. You're such an amazing person. Oh my God, don't you find it?
15 minutes.
Okay. Okay, so let me see what else.
She's like, let's not get carried away.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing.
Yeah. To just kind of like be selective. Okay, I'll ask this question. In an article you wrote in The Guardian in 2011, they quoted that you said you want every woman to birth their dreams. So I wasn't sure if you were speaking specifically to women and you thought that there was something, just like with the Caribbean, if there was something specific with women that you wanted to narrow in on.
Yeah.
Which is not to say, of course, I'm sure you want everybody to think, but I wondered if there was something specific there.
Well, yes. I believe that women, for the most part, second guess themselves a lot, and are not, because of how we are built. You know, there are a lot of things that we do, again, that we take for granted, that we don't see as efficient, as, you know, as something that could be valued. And at the time, what I was focusing on was really empowering women, you know, to get women to, you know, stand up for who they are, you know, to just go. And, you know, this thing about breaking the glass, you know, you gotta break no ceiling. You know, I'm not even thinking about that, because, like, it's almost like, again, it's like, you know, I kind of picture the Pied Piper, and, you know, everybody just walking, and all we looking at is how to break ceilings, and not everybody wants to even, you know, go, you know, like break that ceiling. It's not for everyone, so let's forget about that. But just to empower women. So I had an event called the World of Possibilities, and it's something that, in thinking, I would like to have it, you know, on an annual basis, but for it to be, again, open to the Caribbean, you know, where we can have people coming in, just, you know, coming in, talking. We have music,
That's
you know,
exciting.
Food, etc. But the world of possibilities. And, you know, there are some people who might be thinking, well, why would you share something like this, you know, because somebody could copy it, and I'll say, yeah, but they wouldn't do it like me. You know, it's my thing. You know, that's what people always fear too, huh? You know, like, I'm not going to share this, I'm not going to share this talent, I'm not going to tell people about it because somebody will copy it. Come on, nobody's you.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody could be Ashana.
Exactly.
You know, there's only one.
No moment in time can be absolutely recreated like another one. Like, everything is new. Every person is an individual. Even if it's copied, it's not going to be, it's just not the same. Like, there's no way to carbon copy something. Well, not that we've figured out yet, but you know, everything is a new, fresh thing.
Yeah. So, I mean, I still, I mean, you know, while I'm not, you know, exclusively working with, you know, in fact, you know, I get along very, very well with, you know, men who I think who are sort of like gruff on the outside, but they kind of like share stuff with me. People feel like, you know, they can trust, and they can, you know, to share those parts of themselves that they probably wouldn't let people see. You know, but that women need to, you know, really not tolerate, you know, so much of what is happening, you know, and it's evident, you know, because there's all this abuse and stuff going on, and I'm not saying it's the woman's fault, you know, but I'm saying that, you know, we need like that, the guidance, the ideas, the framework, the tools. People need that kind of, you know, help to help themselves, not a how-to disconnected, you know, book. You know, but something that they can sort of like go out and use immediately, you know, in helping themselves and in their lives. So yeah, that was then, and I mean, it still is, you know, but that was the intention then.
So I'm a little, given what you stated before, I know that the answer to this question could be along the vein of something you said, things you've been saying earlier. But if somebody wanted to start a business related to their passion, whatever it is, what steps could they start with? And like over the next 3 months, for example, what kinds of things would you encourage them to do?
First of all, the backstory. What led them to this point? Why are they doing what they're doing? Like what makes them, sort of perfect for delivering this or doing this particular thing. Because we think of marketing as some kind of technical prowess, some kind of thing that we need to, like we don't know how to market, but we do know how to tell stories about ourselves. So that's, I would want to be as simple as possible. And there's a format that I use where you just answer 5 or 6 questions, but it gives the backstory. And you fill it out as much as possible. And that informs all your marketing, because what you want to tell people is, here's this. This is me. This is how come I came across this. One day I was just walking down the road and this happened, and I decided that, hey, I'm going to do this. And I wanted to do this for these people. And this is why I'm bringing this to you, because I realized that you didn't have this. And I could bring this to you, See how kind of like easy that is, as opposed to, well, I am a, I'm a ball creator and I created this because, it just sounds so false and so not you. So the first thing would be to go into that backstory. And then the next thing would be to discover your voice. Like, what is that? Decide on one product or service, and then figure out your process for getting to that, who you decided that this, whatever you created was for. How do you reach them? Because there's 3 things that you have to have in alignment: message, media, market. Am I speaking to the right people? Am I using the right medium, to reach them? And then what is my message? What is my story? If the message is off, you have to get the trifecta. If the message is off, you could have the other 2 working, but people just not understanding, what. You could be, have the right market and everything, but you not reaching them. You busy on Instagram and they, looking in the newspapers or, some other form, or they would prefer to get an e-newsletter or something like that. And then once you figure that out, then figure out what you could do consistently to educate, because people are not going to just jump. There are few products and services that we buy, so that like we go, we look at it, you're going to buy this. You say, okay, yeah, I like this hydrangea, I like this, right, okay, I'll take this. But most times, people don't understand. We get vexed, right? How come they don't know that they need this? They need it, but they're just not there. So hard. And no, it's not that. They just really don't know. So you have to bring them to that point. And the way you bring them to that is with the story. You tell a story. You keep saying pretty much the same thing. So I encourage people as well to identify like 3 to 5 what I call your big ideas. Like, what are the things that really move you? Like, what it is you feel, that it's possible, for everyone to be successful in their own right. It's possible for you to create a life, a fulfillment and potential. It's possible, you have a gift. I'm 100% certain of. You may not recognize it, but you have it. And there's something that you could be using in tandem, with all the other things that you've been doing, to make Trinidad and Tobago a much better place. That I'm concerned about. So those are like big ideas. So that's what I encourage them to do for themselves. I help them to come up, with their own big ideas. So if they're in an interview, if they're on Facebook, if they're just, writing an article or whatever it is, the big ideas go into that. So people begin, it's sort of like anchoring. You get people. So when people say, like people look at me and go like, potential, possibility, purple, those are words that stick. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you want that kind of thing. And once you do that and once you're consistent, You talk 3 months, then people start to, you know, identify and say, yeah.
Purple, why did you choose purple marketing?
Right. So when I first started, I named my company One-to-One Promotions because I always saw value in that personal interaction, in that individualized, even with marketing. Again, it's something that people say it's impossible. That, you know, you could sort of like literally, even in your market segment, reach out and talk to individuals, not their customer, you know, or their valued customer. So that's where the one-to-one promotions came from. But, you know, Trinidad's call it everything else but that. One-on-one, one-for-one. They felt, well, yeah, they just totally botched it. And then I have to say divine intervention. I really didn't come up with it. So.
Okay, something just happened. It's like
the universe just delivered purple marketing, yeah.
It's not the purple, it's like a favorite color.
Well, you know, and after the fact, then I recognized, you know, how much, you know, purple carried in terms of, you know, royalty and abundance and sovereignty and different things. But so yeah, purple marketing, and then it became easy because then, you know, I just had purple things and you know, and so that's how that came about. So it wasn't really and that's interesting because you see, again, if let's say I went and I wanted to figure it out, let's say with an advertising agency, or go online and, you know, they have these name things that come up, you know, and it would be out of alignment. You see what I'm saying? Like, I had this idea for it, and then the little voice was like purple marketing, and I went with it. Now, what if I didn't? We wouldn't have this great question.
Yeah. What you have several different things listed on your site, but one you just spoke to a little bit about marketing, sales systems and marketing systems and human potential systems. And I don't know if I've ever come across that phrase before, human potential systems, and it piqued my interest. And I was like, what is she talking about with human potential systems?
Yeah, well, that is really in terms of understanding yourself. And there's something that I discovered late in my research regarding, you know, human patterns and patterns of behavior called MCOR. And that is, we all behave in a particular kind of way. We have a pattern of behavior. And we figure that out through stories, through our stories, how we tell those stories from, you know, from when we were children, teens, into our adult years. And it's stories of achievement and what we felt proud of, what we felt, you know, good about. Not that it doesn't have to be like, you know, that you got a certificate or you graduated or something. It could be that you planned a wedding, or you baked a cake, or you tied your shoelaces. It doesn't matter. The most important thing is to look at the verbs, like how you did what you did. And then you start to see patterns of behavior. So the potential system is in looking to see what is your system of behavior, really. And then once you understand that, you understand, for example, if you like to solve problems, that you won't fit into a status quo situation. So you could then begin to choose jobs based on your pattern of behavior. Know what will work for you, what wouldn't work for you, what tasks will work for you, what projects will work for you, what people you should work with, what people, you know, you shouldn't work with. Because we are all designed uniquely. Yeah. So it's in discovering that. Yeah. And then activities, planning it best, you know, around that. So you know how you operate and what's best for you.
Yeah. I looked up the MCOR stuff and I was like, oh, this looks amazing. I feel like I want to do this. So I want to, like, if somebody wants to go through that process with MCOR, you still you do that facilitation as well?
I still do the facilitation.
What is that like? Like, how much does it cost? Does somebody just go to the site and...
No, well, it's true. You have to be certified to, you know, to be able to guide people through the process, because you actually get a report that's, I think, maybe 16 plus pages.
Right. No, I mean, if somebody wants to do
the MCOR. Yeah. Well, yeah, you do it through me.
Yeah.
It's $900. Yeah. And I send you a unique link, and then you go online. Yeah. You do it. Then I get once you complete the exercises, I get a sample report, you get your report, and then we meet twice, and we go through. There are different things inside of there.
Yeah. That looks so cool. It looks so cool. Okay, so that was the final thing that I had in terms of questions. So to wrap, it's just I have to do the intro. But the thing is, we don't have to like make you suffer to do the intro, because it's just the audio that he will do, and he'll put it on the video of you. Okay. But just to wrap, could you let the persons watching know? I feel like people are like really like going to be like so taken with you, because you're just so fun, and like you're just like, as I say, you're just so magical. I just feel like people are going to want to know more. But can you tell persons what services you offer, or how you help persons, and what would be the best way for them to get in contact with you if they?
Yeah, it's very simple. If you're stuck, if you need clarity, if things have not been working out for you, just email me, Giselle at GiselleHudson.com, and we take it from there. Because there's no real, just like, when you first called me, it was like that, whether we can work together, it's that's the basis. Yes. My thing is, let's start talking. Yes. I want to encourage people to reach out, because only when you start reaching out, then things start happening. Don't keep it, to yourself and walk around with it. I am happy to chat with you and to give you some direction. Yeah. So from there, I could kind of like, separate the forest from the trees, and and then you could say, okay, whether you need to do the MCO, whether you want to, whether it's something you want to explore, where we will go. It's an adventure, I'm like carrying you on an archaeological dig. We don't know what we're gonna find.
That's awesome. And I don't know if there's anything that you want coming out of our discussion that you want to say to the people all over the world, anything at all?
Just be yourself. Don't deny it. Don't die with your music in you.
Cool. All right. So I feel like it's in keeping with what I spoke about this morning and what I touched on maybe yesterday or some other day we were shooting, which is, I feel like the content speaks for itself. So if you're not a member of my club and you haven't joined my Patreon yet, you should totally do that. And that's all for today. And stay tuned for more videos, because it's a magical world and more magical things are going to evolve, and I'm going to keep looking for them. And I'm going to keep bringing them to you. So make sure that you subscribe, join the club, all that good stuff, and stay tuned for, as Giselle said, more adventures.